Hello, everybody. I've just gotten done grading your first journals. Basically, excellent work. A few points I want to go over with you that are key, right? One of which is before you do, as you do an assignment, please take a look at the rubric, okay? If you're not already doing so, okay? So, this is the rubric for the assignment that we just completed for week one. Compare and contrast how these three sociological theories, view the world and social interaction. Basically, how you identify with each of these theories. Now, I want to go back here and look at. I'm trying to get into our course, to take a look at it. Hold on, let me get here. It's slow going because I'm running the. Okay, and we're gonna go. So let's take a look. Of course, menu at the learning modules. At assignment 1, module 1. Okay. I've graded both discussions and I've graded discussions and your assignment 1.2, your journal article. So, a couple of points. Please read these assignments carefully. Most folks did a great job. But it says, for the second part of this discussion, suggest a social problem which you will use for your final project. Now, in many cases, everybody did great work, okay? In some cases, I may have asked or directed you or suggested strongly to you that you narrow your focus. In other words, if you're writing about poverty or like women's rights, or racism, right? The focus is to be narrow, right? If you're writing about, as one person did an excellent job of, racial discrimination in the workplace, great. You've narrowed your focus, okay? If you're writing about veteran suicide or racial discrimination in the workplace or other issues, then great. Or childhood obesity. These are social problems that are articulate and are fairly narrowly, they're narrow enough that you can get data on them and you can craft, a discussion, a presentation of these problems and some possible solutions. Okay. So, I might have, and most of you did great work. Some of you didn't write about this part at all. Okay. And then a couple of folks wrote, well, I haven't really decided yet. One thing, and I'm sorry sometimes if I come off a little direct in my response to you. The reason is I want you to succeed here. I mean that. I want you to be as successful as possible. In order to do that, we have to move, and we have to move quickly and decisively. And so, it's an 8-week course. This course will be in week 5 before you know it. So you really have to focus down, okay? Please review the discussion rubric. For the 3 sociological theories, most of you identified the 3 theories, compared them, and explained them, right? And then you gave me an idea about what's going on, right? Keep in mind, though, a couple of things. Some people, I have to see evidence that you've read the course material. So read first before you dive into writing about them, right? Well, this is for every assignment. Read first, then write. I know we all have time limitations. I understand that. But please read and show me that you've read the material. I think some of the biggest challenges I've seen, over both these assignments, you must always use, and for some of you did and some of you did not, APA format in your references. Okay, that's number one. Number two, please, particularly in written assignments, not so much in the discussion post, of course, but in written assignments, your milestones and your journals, so it would be the two kinds of written assignments. Double space. Double space, have a reference page. Just don't start diving in and writing. You've got to show me evidence that you've edited your work a little bit. Okay. Some people are confused about the focus of this course. Now, in helping you to understand the focus of this course, I'm going to use my personal experience. Many of you wrote about your personal experiences. Those personal experiences are certainly legitimate, and they're certainly a strong basis for starting off, okay? But you got to show me that you're able to think sociologically, okay? There is no such thing. One person made this error. There's no such thing as a person not in a group. You're in a group from the moment you're born. I'm in a group whether I'm physically with the group or not. I'm in a group online here. I'm in a group with you. Everyone is in a group. Okay? There is no, that's a cultural universal. Every human, we have to be in a group to survive, and even if we're physically, isolated from people, we're still connected to some sort of a group, even if through memory. Okay? That's point number one. That's the point of sociology. Point number two is this, and when I do this, I'm going to give you my own personal experience, okay? And tie this to a sociological concept. Okay, many people write about their personal experiences. That's fine, to begin with. Let me give you an example from my own experience. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Okay, I can't drink alcohol. It's a fact. I've been in recovery for about 13 years. I also, experimented with other stuff, but we're not going to go into that. But those are, that's a critical point of my personal biography. Okay, now, if this were a class in writing about ourselves or something like that, I could write on. I could give you a history of myself. That's not the point here. The point here is, yes, use that as a starting off, maybe why you're interested, a couple of sentences. You've got to then move on to social structure. If I were writing about this, and I've examined this issue, and I've actually reviewed scholarly work on alcoholism and substance abuse, right, myself, then I have to link this experience to a larger social experience. Why? Yes, I'm a recovering alcoholic. There are millions of people in the United States and across the world, tens of millions, who identify in this manner. Okay? I have to link my experience to the bigger picture. I can't just go talk about me. Okay? Now, some of you identified correctly conflict theory, for example, but then started writing about yourself. I'm having a conflict, at work or in a family or something like that. No, that's not what conflict theory means. If I'm going to take my experience, right, and look at it through the lens of conflict theory from a sociological standpoint, I then have to look at unequal access to resources for groups. This doesn't have anything to do with Matthew Irvin's biography at this point. Then we move on to looking at, these experiences for people as they, in groups. What sort of access to treatment do they have? What sort of access to treatment do they not have? What's the inequality between types of treatment and accessibility to treatment for different populations of the, different subpopulations of the country. That's a conflict perspective. Okay. From an interactionist perspective, yes, I can kind of bring that back to my social construction and how other people might do it in a group. But still, you're talking about placing me in something that is a larger experience. It's called generalizability. So move away from yourself. Start there, but make a journey away from the you and start looking at how this bigger context takes place. Do not continue to write about your autobiography, okay? So that would be a conflict there. It wouldn't be my struggles with people in a group that I don't get along with or something, right? It could be, for example, some people have written excellent papers about their personal experience, but then they've taken it and moved into a larger discussion. Women of color, for example, do not have the same access to mental health resources as other communities do. So that's somebody, and I've seen some of the best work I've seen has been written about this. It's moving from there to there. So show me evidence that you're tying this to sociology, not your personal biography, not some paper you've written for another class. Okay. In regards to that, if you've done another topic in another class, different instructors have different perspectives on this. I will allow you to use whatever you've written, but you must tie it to the terms of the assignment. You can't just like boilerplate cut and paste it without reading. Show me evidence that you're reading the material in the textbook and the supplemental material here, and tie that into our discussion here, and you're going to be just fine. If for some reason you were struggling, some people are more experienced with this than others. I'd be happy to allow, not for discussions, we really have to move quickly on those. But for other papers, I'll allow you to resubmit a paper if you stumbled. Sometimes my language is direct in writing, and please don't take that personally. I just want you to succeed. We don't have a lot of time here. So please communicate with me if you need to, and let's work together, okay? Have a great weekend. It is Friday, the 4th of November. I'm looking forward to diving into your discussions. And for this week, I'm a little late in getting into those, but people have submitted now, and I can really enjoy responding to you in your discussion post. Take care and have a great weekend.